Hello, Fee. This is a message from good you to the black dog, or to whatever else is inhabiting you. Now, first of all, let's start with why you feel good right now. You have taken a pill today, which probably is definitely a stimulant of some sort, so I think you're feeling afloat. And then, you went to your dad's, which you didn't intend to do, but it felt like the right thing to do. And I think crying a lot in the car was a cathartic release. And then you found this colouring in online, and I think it was just nice to find something that didn't have a point, but was actually a way that you can meditate, or at least introduce yourself to meditation as a very low concentration and kind of hyperactive mind person. And there isn't any actual stress right now. The weather's good, no pressure, nothing you have to do. So there's a lot of reasons why you're feeling good. And obviously in this current state of mind, I can't tell you that I'm not trying to grab onto this moment. I'm not trying to see how I can preserve it, how I can make it last. I'm thinking of all of the situations that I'm going to find myself in the next week or two, and how can I channel this person into those moments, because even just on the walk with my dad then, I was so different to how I am talking to you right now. Well, the obvious answer is you can't stay in a good mood the whole time. But when things start going bad for you, that's when you decide to think about the what's the point questions, and you start to contemplate the whole point of life. You're in so much pain that you literally just don't see the point in continuing to feel the pain. And the only thing that it feels like is worth doing is watching TV and eating. And I know that if you're watching this video, you're in a certain state of mind because A, you've remembered the video, and B, you're not so restless. You haven't got to the point where you're so restless that you can't even watch this. So that's good. I mean, this is the kind of turning over point. So I'm going to give you instructions, because that is what I look for, and no one seems to be able to give me what I need, because the kind of advice people give me is basically things that involve being in third gear. So go for a walk is, I would say, second or third gear. Go for a run is fourth to fifth. Find a job is between third and fifth. Meditate, at least third. So I'm just going to take it back to, let's just imagine you're in first gear right now, or first to second. Somehow you've got the strength to watch this video. You're not watching Netflix right now, and I'll probably do another video on how good and bad those things are and how to use them. For yourself, not just literally for yourself. Sorry, I'm rambling. But, okay, first gear activities. Right now, you sometimes can't be able to have a shower and brush your teeth, because I think you enjoy you just don't even have the energy. And I've told you before just to go and sit on the floor and turn the tap on, but sometimes that's too much. Just get a little bit wet, even if you just wet your face with water in your hair to start with. And I can picture you, I don't know if I'm picturing this happening in the future, but I can literally picture the state you're in. Go into one of the bathrooms and look at yourself in the mirror. And the affirmations that we're just going to say, we're going to go through, are the fact that you aren't solely a being of function. Your worth doesn't come through either what you're doing, how you're functioning at that moment in time, or even what you're giving, how good you are at being in relationships or anything like that. You have a core essence in you that every single human has, that has the potential to do something amazing, that has the potential to just hang out here for a while and then fuck off. Maybe even be a parasite, maybe even be a liability, maybe even be a complete waste of space, but you're still part of the bigger picture equation. Now, the whole ego debacle is big, and we don't know exactly where you fit into that in terms of where your ego is speaking and where it's a higher power or whatever. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's the emphasis gets placed on what can I do when I feel bad. And you don't want to go outside, you don't want to go on a walk, you don't want to listen to music, you don't want to write in your diary. All you want to do if you vlog is say stuff which you don't feel you can share with people. It's a pretty holy existence, and also like there's moments when it's more likely to happen, like when you come back from a night out and it's late and like you've just been with company and then you feel that loneliness, in between moments when you've just been hanging out with your mom or your sister and then they leave the room and you're left in your own space and you don't know what to do and you feel just lost, or when you don't finish something. So if you start a new idea, you start working with Lucia on a platform, or you start writing a book, or you start doing something and then you don't finish it, that also can be a trigger. And also when you feel out of control. So one thing you can do is literally just talk to yourself about why you got triggered that time. And even if it's the tiniest freaking thing, we know that like the small things are the big things. Talk about your fears, talk about your triggers, and recognize that by talking about it, like saying it out loud, if you can just, even if you're whispering into the phone in a dark corner, you are literally having a ripple effect on the universe's level of consciousness and self-awareness. Smug, because I think I'm right. Like, once you shine a light on something, it changes. So if you keep habitually shining lights on whatever it is that's going wrong and analysing situations, even if at first it feels a bit neurotic to do it this much, this isn't a permanent state of being. Like, you will have to do this less and less until you might just be completely living your own life. But for now, this is it. And I think getting to know the different people that are talking is really important. Naming them, like having different identities. Like, yeah, this is the protector speaking right now. Like, I clearly feel quite strong and I feel quite parental, and like I am the protector, and I'm speaking to, I think, not the most vulnerable version of myself, because the most vulnerable version of myself won't be watching this video. She'll probably forget this video exists and be in a hole. But maybe the next step up, I don't know. I'm so curious to see when I watch this back. And I think that talking to myself in a very intentional way is helpful. And Fee, whatever time of day it is that you're watching this video, we need to reframe the notion of night and day, and reframe the notion of how moods work and how time works. And I'm sorry that I'm not completely clear in how we're going to fix this right now, but I don't want you to stop watching this video and feel exactly the same way as you did starting. So I want to give you a little prompt that can lead to something else, that can lead to something else, that can lead to something else. So now, the medication does seem to do something positive. And by positive, I mean it seems to bring out the protector. And I think that that's the same thing that happens temporarily when I eat and when I smoke and stuff. I can temporarily reach a state of strength. Obviously, it's got a crutch because it's not being reached naturally, but potentially if I can hit this point enough and speak to you enough from this point, I might be able to fake this state when I'm not on anything, just sober. But that's a big journey that we're going on, so don't worry about that either. I just think you need to talk out every worry on your mind as they come up. And I'm wondering now whether maybe that's what I should do, because maybe I'm projecting onto you, because maybe you listening to me telling you what your worries are is actually quite a good use of this positive state. Because I can hear you in my head, even though you're not the dominant voice right now, I can still hear you, you're still in there. And you're even self-conscious about the fact that, you know, your dad and maybe sister are downstairs making dinner and you're here talking to yourself. But you're not so self-conscious to stop recording this and go and join in, because this is an exercise in creating space for oneself, and that space, once created, can probably be more intentionally navigated and won't need to be so impulsive and spontaneous. But for now it is, and just accept that that's where you're at. I think we need to accept that right now you're right, that this pretty much is a path of least resistance existence. Like, you're going with the flow. A thought comes into your head, if it niggles you enough, you'll listen to it, whether that's to eat or to watch TV, or that to not be able to have conversations because they're just so complex and difficult, but then to be stuck on them and thinking about them so much, for your reality to augment when you want to have a flat, suddenly that is what's going to be the fix. When you're waiting for a hard drive to arrive, that's going to be the fix. You know, like, this augmented line of least resistance reality is definitely where you're at. I can't deny that. And I think that talking to yourself is a form of protection. There's a smiley face on the road. And we're just testing out whether it's actually going to help next time you hit a low. Even maybe later tonight when Dad and Lex go to bed, it's possible that you'll just feel lonely and we'll be watching it back then. But I think just continuing to talk to yourself could do something, right? Okay, so here's what you're scared of, right? As we said the other day, the cold, the clothes, and the commutes. You're scared of those moments when the chill just hits you to the bone, as Liam Gallagher said, and you feel so exposed to the elements and you feel so tired and weak and anxious and unable to keep up, you know, like when you've been on holiday with friends and they've all been active and wanting to do things and you just don't want to do it. You want to stay in bed and you just want to sleep and eat, and you can't keep up, and you're scared of that part of yourself, and you want to create a space where that part never has to come out, where you can just protect her, basically. You want to protect her from the cold. And right now, if you're feeling shit, this is a moment when you can't deal with that. And then there's also the tiny things of, like, not having your shit together, like not having the right clothes, and then because you're overeating, like that even the ones you do have aren't fitting as well, so everything's just turning into a mess, and you're just walking around in a sarong the whole time, and you don't have money, and then you don't want to keep asking your parents for money, but you also don't want to work or / don't feel like able to, so it's a bit of a disabled situation that you're in. But the good news is, all you have to do is find something to wear today. And if it's the day to order stuff and to summon the courage to say, Mum, I need to get some more stuff, or you feel ready to find some sort of online job, cool. But if not, all you need to do is find something for today. You know, like, I think that being at boarding school, like, it was like not just being on a hamster wheel, but tripping and then falling on the hamster wheel perpetually for 2 years, and grasping onto external clutches wherever possible, raiding your internal and external medicine cabinets. There are a few good times from recovery, I can't deny it, and that's definitely one of them. And yeah, I think since then, I mean, even before that, you know, like walking home from school in the freezing cold and being stuck in lessons so overtired because you hadn't slept, there's been a lot of suffering as a result of the elements and as a result of your mood and energy throughout your life. And it's natural that you want to feel very insulated and that you fear not being insulated, to the point where you turn on the air conditioner and you freak out about the fact that one day you might not have an air conditioner. Like, this is what we're talking about, and this kind of stuff is going to have an effect. And I know you idolize your best friend and you think that it would be a lot easier to be her and to be in a safe, one-based existence where not only did you know what was expected of you, but you had cultivated the skills from a young age to be able to do said things and to constantly be reinforcing that sense of pride through the constant acquisition of new skills. But you have to remember that whether or not you like it, you picked you decided to be you for whatever reason this time around. You've decided to be this person. I obviously don't believe that 100% and 100% of the time, but I do most of the time. It's a bit of an unfaltering feeling. So let's just figure out what we can do with the strengths that come with this existence and keep reinforcing them. When you see your friends, when you talk to other people, you need to focus on the positive. Let them be the negative voices and keep it external. Externalize the things that were external, and at some point you internalize them, because there was a point where you were confident in yourself and you were confident in being a free spirit and not conforming to a certain way of life or another hamster wheel or another ladder that you didn't want to climb. And so many people at the time that you cared about and you valued their opinion said that that wasn't a responsible or intelligent thing to do. And then when it did go wrong, which it did, I think it's all been internalized. And actually, clearly there were some things that you didn't calculate and you didn't think about, and this is going to take more consideration, but that doesn't mean that your fundamental feeling on what you want is wrong. It's just working with your strengths and limitations, and recognizing that the world is much bigger than the community you grew up in. And even though obviously those people are always going to be closest to the core, the internet is such a wide platform. For example, you could potentially be talking to people in completely different parts of the world who feel similarly to you, even if... Yeah? Yeah, 2 minutes! Even if there's no one around you who feels that way. So now you have to go for dinner with your dad, but clearly this reality has passed as the minutes have gone on. What I'm really hoping is that I've caught you in enough of a trance, even if you've just been colouring while you've been listening to this, to shift your thoughts, and to bring you a little bit more onto a neutral line. If that hasn't worked, just record a response video as to why this video was stupid and didn't work, and we'll just keep evolving it until we find some way to get through the words that you need to hear when you're at your worst. And my head won't stop niggling about my thing with sleep right now and waking up at 12 o'clock every day, and how that is just instantly setting a tone from the day, because what I'm reinforcing to myself is I'd rather be unconscious, and I would, and you know that, but actually not right now, not when I'm feeling good right now. So I think starting your days a bit earlier is going to be painful in a way, but it could help. And I don't know how you're going to get to sleep earlier, and I just think sleep and energy and routine is something not just to try and change, but to really analyze and to try and get your grips on. And if you're recording 8 videos a day talking about it for now, that's okay. Literally no one has to watch this. No one, you might never watch this, but there might become something which you have a tendency to talk about often, and then you might want to watch them back all in one go, and it might make sense and could help. Because the one thing that we know, and the one thing that you're knowing right now in your state and I'm knowing right now in mine, is that there is actually no one external voice that's going to help you find a way to manage your moods and help you find a way to manage your life. And while everyone will have their advice and their ideas and their inputs, you are the only voice that you'll listen to, and we know that. So we just need to try and find a way to listen to it that actually lands and that actually alters something in your mind in those moments.